and welcome to the Alfa Romeo 4C. Now this car is a sports car in Alfa Romeo's range, so the top of their range is the 8C, this is the next one down, the 4C. What I'm going to basically take you through today is a bit of a comparison between this car here and the Porsche Cayman, specifically the 718 Cayman. Now to start us off, we've got to think about what's actually in this car. This is actually a 1.7, or kind of halfway between 1.7 and 1.8 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which chucks out 240 brake. Absolutely astronomical. Now if you compare that to the Porsche's got a 2-litre engine, turbocharged again, same 4 cylinders, slightly different in terms of the way it works and how the turbo works, but actually chucking out 300 brake. So on paper, the Porsche is much faster. However, this car weighs about a third less than the Porsche. So the Alfa is actually chucking out 0 to 62 in 4.5 seconds versus the Porsche, which is doing it in 5.1. So what we're quickly learning is that this car is actually quite a lot faster than the Porsche, purely down to the weight. Top speed, the Alfa actually tops out at 160 versus the Porsche's 170. Price wise, this car specifically is about £55,000 compared to the Cayman, which is 47 roughly £1,000 on the road. In spec wise, in terms of 0 to 60, you're now probably getting in towards the Cayman S, which is going to give you that extra bit of power, and that kind of price wise puts them on the comparative platform as well. In terms of actual looks and kind of styling, pretty similar as well. Oh, so yay! Camera's fixed. Don't buy cheap GoPro mounts. That is my lesson learnt today. The Alfa Romeo 4C and the Porsche 718 Cayman, on paper, they're doing quite a similar job. They're probably a sports car that you've looked at for a while, that looks absolutely incredible and that really you want on your driveway. However, the two cars could not be more different. This car, the 4C, is an absolute power horse, okay? It works through. It's a monster to handle. It finds camber in the road. It's a raw driving experience. There's no power steering. There's really no driver aids, and it's designed to be that real, raw, uninterrupted driving experience, whereas the Porsche is designed to be more refined, more laid back, more of a gentleman car. And we're going to start to see that this theme is something that you want to be considering throughout. Are you the kind of person that wants to daily your sports car, that wants to take it to work every day, that wants to leave it in the work car park, that wants to really drive it in all seasons? Or are you the guy who wants to really have a car that you're going to have some fun in? As you can probably see from the camera shaking, the suspension is pretty stiff, so the setup's there. The gearbox is incredible, so you're knocking through the gears, you can downshift when you want. The noises that come from that engine and the sound of that turbo spoiling up, absolutely incredible. What makes the whole driving experience really emotive, really involving. You're constantly arm wrestling the car to make sure it stays where you want it to be in the road. You're looking so far ahead to make sure there's nothing coming to kind of check your positioning, because you're constantly aware of what a driving experience this is, but equally how you're going to be handling this and how you're going to be pulling it into the places that you want it to be. The Porsche, on the other hand, is quite a refined driving experience. It's quite steady. You can have some softer options if you want, or you can have a sports setup if you want the PASM, for example, on the Porsche. But they're all optional extras. This, however, on the 4C, there's very few optional extras. It's really a raw driving experience. Getting to grips with the handling, getting to grips with how it plays. It's really low down. I think partly what adds to the looks and the appeal of it is immediately when you get into the car. The fact that that carbon fibre shell, that sort of bath that you're basically getting, which is the chassis of the car, that's really setting the tone for, you're not really getting into a relaxed daily car, you're getting into something that's going to be fun, it's going to be unique, and it's going to be a driving experience, not just a drive. Okay, so let's just get all sensible for a moment. On paper and financially, let's just look through how this all works. So the Porsche Caymans at the moment, maybe it's because of the new engines, maybe it's because of the getting rid of the 6-cylinder, I don't know. Volkswagen's ownership of them, who knows. The values of them are starting to decline even after purchase. They're not holding as strong as the last Cayman, for example. Whereas when you look at the Alfa, the 4C, it's holding pretty well. You can get them now second hand for about £35,000, but they're, you know, getting on a bit. They're not a new car anymore. They're really starting to become unique and become quite rare in their collector's form. The 8C, its older, sort of more sexy brother, is incredibly valued now. The residuals on those is astronomical, and they're actually appreciating costs rather than going down. So actually, when you look at it as an investment, it's quite a good one. Running costs, this car's a lot better than the Porsche as well, so you can probably get from this about 42 miles per gallon if you're driving kind of moderately. Most of the time you won't be, but you can get that if you need to. Whereas the Porsche does roughly between 31 and 38 on paper. However, you may know that Chris has got one that we've seen and that I've covered in previous videos. If you want to check those out, you can check some links up here. But Chris actually manages to get quite a lot more than the on-paper MPG from his car. So it's worth thinking about there is what your running costs are, what your use is going to be, and actually if you see this as an investment, where you see that price going. It's safe to say on the Alfa that there's limited luxuries. So you're not going to get into this car and have electric seats, you're not going to have power steering if you can class that as a luxury. You're missing out on some of the things that you might get in other cars. So the roof, for example, you have to take off manually, it takes a bit of time. It's not the most kind of sexy process taking the roof down on this, but most of the time you will want the roof down because it just gives you more of that engine and more of that sound and more of that kind of raw experience that you're really trying to get from this car. Oh, today's a good day, isn't it? This car for me is really about poise, it's about looks and people kind of thinking, what's that? That looks incredible, like what is it? That kind of head-turning appeal but yet curiosity because people haven't really seen many of them about. In terms of living with it, it's a really different experience, and there's another video that you can check out just over here, and I'll put the links in the description below, that shows you actually what it's like day to day to live with, what it's kind of like as an ownership experience, and what it kind of feels like day on, day out, and what its kind of fit is in your life. To give you kind of a quick summary of what that might be, this isn't necessarily a daily, it's not something that you would use every single day to go to work and pick up the kids from school and do the grocery shopping. What it is, however, is a lot of fun and something that would complement your pre-existing garage really, really, really well. Kind of one of the last things that I want to leave you thinking about is, if you're buying a car with your head, then the Porsche is the one for you. Bear in mind as well when buying the Porsche, and in a video that I've covered before, if you want to check out how to spec one over here, is you actually, to get a decent Cayman, you should probably be spending between £8,000 and £12,000 minimum on optional extras. That's to get the PDK gearbox, it's to think about PASM or Spasm if you want the kind of sports setup. I'm still laughing at the word Spasm, it still feels funny. And also some of the kind of optional extras that you want to think about in the Porsche that make it look better, that make the kind of Porsche experience more Porsche. Again, you can look at that video up there to kind of get more inspiration on that. But logically, if that's where you're thinking, the Porsche is the right thing as a daily, and be aware that you probably have to spec it quite highly to get what you want. If, however, you're looking for something that's non-logical, that's completely emotive, that's completely irrational, but actually will steal your heart and give you a driving experience that's uninterrupted, that's fun, that turns heads, and that makes your weekends like 100% better, then you should be going for the Alfa 4C. Because I'll be honest, I've owned a Cayman in the past. I had a 2012 Cayman, very highly specced. The value of it went up really well. Love the 6-cylinder engine. My friend's got the 718 Cayman, which I love. He's done a great job of speccing it. Looks superb. Again, check out those videos if you want to. But for me, I genuinely want to buy this car, this press car, this yellow spec, this exact one, the yellow head turning, loud, completely irrational car. I've got a company car coming, so I don't really need to think about the car that's going to do the legwork and it's going to do the motorway miles. I think this on a motorway has been an experience. It has got cruise control, but it wasn't necessarily where I'd place the car. But honestly, I want this car, like this one. So it's going to be an interesting conversation when I get back to Alfa Romeo later. What a handful! What a handful! Guys, thank you for watching. Like I said, there's another video you can check out which is about living with the Alfa Romeo 4C. That's going to be coming out next week, but if you're watching this after the day that's come out, then basically you can go and check it out now. If you do like this car, hopefully you're going to see more of it. Who knows, but make sure to subscribe. If you are interested in buying a Cayman, go and check out those videos again. Subscribe if you haven't done already. It's great to see you guys joining me on this journey, and I get to drive a lot of sports cars, I get to drive some supercars, I do a lot of electric cars. There's lots of VW Golfs and Polos, and there's a big VW group of subs that we've got on the channel, so there's more coming from there as well. There's also some big news coming up that I'll be sharing with you shortly as well, so make sure that you subscribe for that. If you know someone that's looking for the 4C or looking for the Cayman, share this with them, because I think it's an interesting debate that I would have wanted to have when I was buying my Cayman. Thank you guys for joining me, thank you again for watching, and I will see you